Hey YouTube, it's ShryphonX here. Today, we're going to be talking about Jujutsu Kaisen Modulo Chapter 13. Like and subscribe for more content. Yuji Itadori is an immortal god, and he is depressed. Old Lady Nobara. Jujutsu Kaisen Modulo Chapter 13. This chapter has 19 pages. Editor's note. Cross, who was shot during the clash in Tokyo. For the upcoming Jump Giga magazine, we get a color page featuring promotion for Jujutsu Kaisen Season 3 as we see Yuji in the center, alongside Megumi, Yuta, Choso, Maki, and Naoya Zenin, drawn by Gige Akutami himself. Cross-Fate. The chapter begins with Maru seeing his injured brother Cross hospitalized and with a breathing mask and asking what happened to his twin brother. Oski said that the sorcerers assumed Cross was about to draw his sword, but that was not what Cross did. A reminder that in real life, racial profiling is an unfortunate reality, and too often, justifications such as he was about to reach for a weapon happen when a police officer is threatened by a person's appearance and all associated biases. Oski brags about how he knew Cross would easily take down the sorcerers, but Jabaloma points out that to the very end, Cross only sought the best path for Rumel. Oski grabs Jabaloma's robes and insists that, in spite not personally liking him due to his cockiness, Cross is not dead, yet since there is no way he would go down that easily. Meanwhile, back in Kyoto Jujutsu High, Tsurugi learns from a female sorcerer that Usami suffered from the recoil of using cursed speech in the last chapter. We see in bed covered in spots and blood. Tsurugi is in disbelief since Usami is a grade 1 sorcerer. Behind him, the pigtail female sorcerer also reminds Tsurugi that she too is a grade 1 sorcerer, but if she were to face Dabura as an enemy, she would run, and if she was in Usami's position, she would take her own life. The woman says that Dabura is a natural calamity and cannot be measured by sorcerer grades, meaning he might even be beyond special grade, beyond Sukuna's threat level. Dabura's power is beyond Sukuna level. We return to the Cross incident last chapter, and where we left off last chapter where Dabura asked what the sorcerers are doing. Usami says that nobody should move, but looking at Dabura, Yakumo, the man responsible for shooting Cross, remarks that no one could move in front of a monster like Dabura. After carrying Cross' body and handing it over to the Remelians, Dabura repeats his question to Yakimaru. Oski explains that the creatures in Tokyo were Kalyan, and Jabaloma added that things got messy. Yakimaru insisted that the creatures here were cursed spirits, not Kalyan. Last chapter was also where we made the key distinctions between the two similar beings. We get to see Dabura towering over Yakimaru as he asks the latter if he was the one who shot Cross. From behind, Usami puts his cursed speech hand on and tells Dabura to not move. Except, Dabura had already cut off Yakimaru's right arm. After seeing how fast he was, Yakimaru collapses from the pain. Jabaloma tells Dabura to calm down. Suddenly, Usami feels his throat beginning to burst from the pain, remarking that even though he was not even using powerful cursed speech, the backlash is intense. This is especially the case as Dabura was still disobeying the command, moving around as he asks if what he is feeling is Earth's jujitsu. Yakimaru says that Usami was too slow to stop Dabura. Dabura looks down on the kneeling Usami as he nonchalantly senses that the man is suffering. Yakimaru's junior, the swordsman, remarks that Dabura is ignoring Usami's cursed speech like it was nothing. Another sorcerer notes that if Dabura keeps moving, Usami will suffer more backlash. Usami continues to apologize for his own disrespectful tone and for the incident with Cross. Usami bows down, beginning Dabura to fall back to give the humans a chance to discuss things properly. However, Dabura remarks that Cross will die from his wounds and does not have long. Usami swears the sorcerers can heal him, all the while the man is bleeding from Dabura's resistance to cursed speech. Dabura intends to avenge Cross, that as payment for his life, he will kill the 13 sorcerers here. Usami begs that he alone will shoulder the price, which makes Deborah remember Dura, who also chose to sacrifice himself for the sake of the entire Romelian tribe. Not wanting to relive the moment he took his best friend's life, a life to pay for other lives, Deborah elects to leave. Once again, Deborah sees that the same conflict is happening involving the Kalyan, a creature he has no emotional ties with and cannot understand, much like a secular leader ruling a majority of those who follow a different religion from his own. Now we see undeniable proof that Deborah is beyond Sukuna's level of power. Look at Chapter 262, Part 2, where he is affected by Inumaki's cursed speech. While Sukuna was unable to move from a recording of Inumaki saying, Deborah was not even affected in the slightest. This has less to do with whether the user is proficient, has enough cursed energy, or uses a powerful command or not. It is clear that even a simple, weaker command will have some impact. Sukuna was momentarily frozen for a split second, and that gave Yuta an opening to use Hollow Purple on the King of Curses. Cross condition seems to make him similar to Yuka, whose cancer gives her only 6 months to live, which coincidentally, as a reminder, is how long Jujutsu Kaisen Modulo is supposed to be. Cursed spirits are a protected species. The Sumerian representatives formally requested that the Japanese government protect all cursed spirits and prohibit any further exorcising or disposal of them. Now, we see a change in international relations. Jujutsu sorcery was an activity mandated and protected by Japanese law and jujutsu regulations on secrecy, but now it is condemned by a foreign power in the form of a nomad nation like Rumel. We are now entertaining questions of legitimacy in the international law sense. During the Jujutsu headquarters meeting, the pigtail sorcerer says that they will not stop their main function of exorcising curses. If they stop exorcising cursed spirits in Tokyo, they will spill out of the Inhumamakio. Another sorcerer asks if the Tokyo barrier is that fragile. The pigtail sorcerer says that the barrier in the old imperial palace was originally solid, but by expanding to the prefectural borders of the entity city of Tokyo, the barrier functions less as a container to seal cursed spirits in, but to push their awareness within Tokyo. Lower-level cursed spirits like flyheads being near the barrier's edge is no problem, but if anything grade 2 and above goes that deep, they will end up repeating the Shibuya incident that took place days before the culling game. An older sorcerer asks about treating Cross, who Yakamura shot. The medic sorcerer with glasses from earlier notes that sorcerers normally have tough bodies and therefore her reverse curse technique can heal them, but it cannot handle anything extreme, such as loss of limbs or internal organ damage. Cross would be viewed as a powerful warrior, yet he was taken out instantly by a gunshot, meaning a vital organ, like his heart or lungs, must have been punctured to cause this injury. So furthermore, they would have to account for Sumerian-specific injuries. So if that is the case, there is nothing humans can do, causing the other sorcerers to lament how idiotic Yakimaru really was. Whereas 97-year-old Shoko when you need her? She is most likely dead by this point, considering her poor health from smoking anyways. Additionally, the medic notes that even if they heal Cross and essentially put out the fire that the sorcerer started, it will not change their minds about cursed spirits, who the Romelians revere as the divine Kalyants, and are treated as creatures with a soul and voice. The pigtail sorcerer asks how long they can afford to not exorcise cursed spirits. Given the great purification has been canceled, Mino says that they have only a month. Breaching the agreement, we skip to 1 month later, December 2086. A group of sorcerers choose to exorcise cursed spirits at night in an attempt to not get caught. Meanwhile, the mothership Nonax flies above Tokyo, and the Romelians ask Oski to try and sense the Kalyants from this distance. Oski says that they should focus their awareness of the cursed spirits' voices on Tokyo, which is below them, and from this distance, the damage from the tears would be minimal. And yep, Oski sensed the exorcisms. On the Romulan side, we condemn Japan's slaughter of cursed spirits as an international violation and demand that the Japanese government be held internationally accountable. However, on the Japanese camp, the extermination of cursed spirits was an act of force majeure and should not be considered unlawful state conduct. Force majeure is a clause in contract law or international agreements that essentially frees both parties from liability or obligation when an extraordinary event or circumstance is beyond the control of the parties, such as war, disease, or any disaster or acts of God. Cursed spirits are treated as calamities upon humanity, and therefore the response, jujutsu exorcism, should not be seen as a violation of international law, because cursed spirits are not under the jurisdiction of the Romulans, but are a non-human non-party. Their dignity out of the question. Jujutsu headquarters is at an uproar as many sorcerers demand for a great purification since the winter occurrence rate for cursed spirits is high. We see the two sorcerers from earlier now hospitalized due to the danger of their secret mission. Yes, the old problem of the original series, sorcerers dying on the job for the sake of non-sorcerers. Except this time, they're performing this risk to avoid triggering conflict with alien sorcerers. Meanwhile, the other Romulans worry about the weeping Oski is going through, but for Oski, letting this happen is the bare minimum for a Romulan warrior. Oski is outraged that humans would kill creatures he considers both sacred and having dignity. Dabura steps in to tell him to stop, but Oski calls out Dabura for being a descant foreigner, unable to understand the Romulan religion or their connected to Koyats. Dabura apologizes to Jabaloma, saying he's indeed an outsider who is unable to understand them. Duel between heaven and earth from the Sumerian representative. They confirm the continuation of cursed spirit extermination. As a new government and a new nation aimed at protecting cursed spirits, the Rumal nation will be established in Tokyo. If this is rejected, they request adjudication through a descant-style duel. Again, Jujutsu headquarters is going through an uproar thanks to the secret exorcisms being caught by the Romulans. One suggests giving up Tokyo, while another worries about the cursed spirits that will overflow all across Japan at any moment. Isolating each cursed spirit habitat will only be a temporary solution, another burden for the next generation. The Pigtail Sorcerer, now being the more senior member with Yakamura's status being unknown, and Usami, still comatose even after 1 month, tells everyone to be quiet. Yes, Usami being out of commission for a month signifies just how ridiculous Dabura's power is. The woman suggests that there is only one obvious candidate to duel Dabura is Yuji Itadori, the deterrent himself. Mino remarks they have not been able to contact him or get a lead. Old Nobara Kujisaki testimony of Nobara Kujisaki, we finally get the appearance of old Nobara Kujisaki, who is currently 84 years old, just like Yuji Itadori himself. Except like everyone else, she has aged normally. She also has a cat on her lap and lives in a rather fancy apartment, wearing black robes and her eye patch over her left eye when this testimony was recorded. Nobara says that the last time she saw Yuji was during Hana Kurisu's funeral. A reminder, Hana Kurisu is Megumi's old friend rescued as an orphan from cursed spirits and became the host of the Angel, a sorcerer likely from the Middle East who uses technique extinguishment. While Hana is also Yuji's friend, a likely reason why her death would hit him personally, aside from how much he has lost due to the passage of time, is because Hana was probably Megumi's wife. We do not know if Megumi is still alive, but if they had descendants, we could put a number on it and assume that Yuji may also have attended both Maki and Yuta's funerals. Hana Kurisu would probably be the last friend he witnessed about to be buried, so Yuji might have been missing for 5 years, give or take, since Yuta passed away 6 years ago in 2080. Considering that there have been no exorcisms throughout November 2086, either Yuji has not sealed himself off inside Tokyo, or he knew of the Romelian situation and chose not to aggravate the newcomers. Immortality. Yuji's curse Nobara remarks that even though he looks like a tough guy, Yuji could not bear to see anyone die anymore. Yuji feels like his late grandfather Weisuke's wishes for Yuji to not die alone will go unfulfilled. As it turns out, in contrast to Nobara and everyone else, Yuji never really ages at all, which makes Nobara remind herself of her own old age and being worn out. It is sad to see how our young main cast from the original series has aged and grown tired. Worst of all is Yuji, who suffers the curse of a Tatsuki Fujimoto protagonist like Agni and Denji. Immortality. Yuji is the new Satoru Gojo, but potentially also the new Tenjin, but already surpassing the limits of the immortality curse technique that require Tenjin to take a plasma vessel every 500 years or else evolve into something that is neither human nor curse. Yuji might be heading in that direction, not so much as a product of a curse technique, but due to his unnatural existence, as a human born with the blood of the death paintings that are themselves the product of a human woman and cursed spirits. Yuji is the unique existence Kinjaku sought to witness, and could potentially be the solution to the Romelian War, since he is a combination of both human and cursed spirit, a sorcerer who is able to feel the emotions of cursed spirits like the Romelian aliens are able to do here on Earth, their intended new home. Yuji might have more in common with the Romelians than with modern humans, because humans have shorter lives and yet produce infinite problems via cursed energy, and, most of all, because he knows that there are cursed spirits with dignity, like Choso and their brothers. He now suffers what Gojo suffered from, the burden of the strongest, being alone and unable to be understood and connected to. Maybe Yuji had a family, possibly with Ozawa, judging from the epilogue, and that Ozawa might have gone first before him, just like how Yuta felt great depression after Maki passed away before he did. Nobara ends her message by telling them to send her message to Yuji, that Yuji should not apologize. Yuka's personal death sentence we skip to another month. On the record, January 2087 from Samuria, the Rumel representative, Debura Karaba. A duel is requested for the purpose of protecting cursed spirits and seeding Tokyo. The Earth representative, Japan, in response, nominates Yuka Okatsu as the duel proxy. She personally agrees to this. The chapter ends with Yuka Okatsu, resembling her grandfather Yuta more and more due to the effects of her brain cancer, taking a toll on her physical health. She has consented to the duel, likely out of a dare to her existence. She intends to go out with a bang, whether she wins or losses against the almighty Debura. But there's also the chance that the duel could be between her and her friend Maru. Will Cross recover or be the victim that will trigger the war between the two races? Ironically, something he originally intended in Chapter 5, Berserk. Editor's note: VS space, the sorcery duel begins. There will also be another color page in the issue after that, meaning there will be 2 consecutive color pages for Modulo. These color pages have been placed in rather important chapters as well. These 2 chapters will likely feature the highlight of Yuka's characterization as she takes on her biggest challenge, a life-or-death duel for the fate of humanity. Once again, Jujutsu Kaisen Modulo seems to have gained much popularity in the span of 3 months. So will there be any hope for an extension to the story? Thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe for more content. ShryphonX out.